A brother and sister killed at the Leonard Street home in a suspected Easter Sunday double murder.
The empty seats at our table will always be a constant reminder of the absence at our family gatherings.
How well do you know your neighbor? Do you trust them enough to let them inside your house? Marie Collins was the ideal neighbor, kind, caring, and considerate of others. At 66 years old, she had lived at her Victoria Parks apartment for 40 years and was well known in the Christian community. Everyone loved her, and she thought that she knew all of her neighbors. But she had no idea that her next-door neighbor was actually a cold-blooded monster who had been planning her death for weeks and had even bought a taser gun and dug a shallow grave in the woods for her. But why would he do that? This is the case of the fantasy killer who murdered his elderly neighbor in a latex suit. A resident of Perth, Australia, Mary came from a family of 6 siblings, including her 62-year-old brother Wayne Johnson, who she was super close with. They were always calling and checking in on each other and basically had each other's back. So when Wayne didn't hear from Mary on Easter Sunday of 2020, he decided to go check on her. He had no idea what was waiting for him. It all started on April 12, 2020, when Marie's sister, Helen Bettina, tried calling Marie several times without an answer. This was weird. Marie never went off the grid like that. Helen then got a text from Marie's phone saying, "Hi Helen, apologies for not taking your call. I'm feeling quite unwell." This didn't sound at all like her sister, and Helen tried calling her again, but still no answer. She instead got another text that read, "I've lost my voice, unfortunately. As I said, I'm quite unwell." Concerned for her sister, Helen contacted their brother Wayne, who lived near Mary, and asked if he could go check on her. Wayne went to Mary's apartment at 2 p.m. that day. It's the last time he would ever be seen alive again. Helen was now super worried because she could neither reach Marie nor Wayne. Something was definitely wrong. At around 4 p.m., she went over to Marie's place, accompanied by her son-in-law and one of Marie's neighbors. But when she opened the door, she was horrified by what she saw. She immediately called the cops when she found Marie's body in the living room, wrapped in a blue tarpaulin and tied with a yellow rope. Wayne's body was also found in the apartment, having been mowed to death. It appeared that a struggle had taken place in the apartment, as there was red stains everywhere, as well as broken furniture and tumbled over plants. There were also beer bottles and protein smoothie bottles scattered all over the place. Police also found 2 sets of handcuffs, a used taser, latex gloves, a letter opener, as well as a bread knife, and a large hunting knife, which appeared to have been the murder weapons. Marie had suffered 12 jab wounds, including to her throat, while her brother had 25 wounds on various parts of his body, including his head, chest, and abdomen. Autopsy results showed that the 2 siblings had been killed 24 hours apart, meaning Marie was already dead when Wayne went to check in on her. Who could have done such a horrible thing?
On a day most spent celebrating new beginnings, a tragic end in the heart of Victoria Park. A brother and sister killed at the Leonard Street home in a suspected Easter Sunday double murder.
Oh, I'm very shocked and sad, and it's just a numb feeling, you know.
One of the victims is 67-year-old Marie Collins. 9 News has been told police arrived in the multi-storey complex about 4 yesterday afternoon when they received a call from a distressed family member who'd arrived at the home and found one of the victims.
An investigation was immediately launched as Marie's once warm and welcoming apartment turned into a cold crime scene. One police officer was looking through the window of a car parked outside the apartment building when he noticed something suspicious: a receipt of a blue tarpaulin and yellow rope, the same items found on Marie's body. The items were purchased from a local Bunnings store on Saturday, April 11th, the day before the horrific discovery. Investigators learned that the car belonged to Marie's 27-year-old next-door neighbor, Luke Fawcett. Could he have been the killer? A trained psychologist, Luke had been Marie's neighbor for 4 years, and the two had shared a friendly, neighborly relationship. He would later testify that Marie was always there for him and had even offered him a place to spend the night when his girlfriend dumped him. Coincidentally, this happened to be the same night that Marie would turn up dead. After finding the receipt, investigators went to the Bunnings store, where they saw surveillance footage of Luke in the store buying the tarpaulin and the rope. He had also bought other items like a shovel and duct tape. A neighbor who lived a few floors below Marie also told investigators that around 2 p.m. on April 12th, she heard a muffled male scream coming from the house above her. It was only for a couple of seconds, and so she didn't think much of it until a few minutes later, when she saw Luke through her window, acting all weird and erratic. He was crying and pacing up and down while holding his arm outside the apartment building, and the neighbor decided to take a few pictures, which she now showed investigators. The neighbor said that she saw Luke being picked up by an elderly woman. The elderly lady turned out to be Luke's grandmother. She told detectives that the first time her grandson had called her, he was asking for a shovel or a spade, but he called back later and told her that he no longer needed it. Then at 2:16 p.m., he called to ask if she could pick him up and take him to see a doctor because he had fallen down the stairs while holding a knife. When the grandmother went to pick him up at 2:30 p.m., she noticed that he was wearing black gloves, which she thought was because of the coronavirus. The grandmother said that she dropped him off at the emergency unit of a hospital and left, and that she had not heard from him again. Investigators found Luke at the hospital, and he told them pretty much the same story that he told his grandmother and the hospital staff, that he got injured when he fell down the stairs holding a knife. However, he did agree to provide a DNA sample, which interestingly would end up matching the one found in Marie's apartment. And that's just the beginning. When investigators went through his phone, they found a bizarre video of him rehearsing an attack 2 weeks before the murder. In the video, which has not yet been released to the public, Luke was wearing a black latex suit and a mask, while holding a knife in one hand and a taser and threatening to hurt an imaginary person, saying, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way. If it's the hard way, you'll be severely hurt. And if you keep pushing me, eventually I will kill you." But it gets worse. Investigators found a screenshot of a map leading to an isolated area about 120 miles from Perth. When investigators went to the location, they discovered a partially dug grave with a black duffel bag and a shovel. Inside the bag, there were several of the same smoothie bottles found inside Marie's apartment. Even more chilling, there were 2 handwritten to-do lists inside the bag where he had written down the items he needed for the murder. One checklist titled equipment, he had listed items like quiet shoes, a baseball bat, and cable ties. The second list named interrogation had things like pepper spray to the eyes and potential locations. Luke claimed that the video was an audition for a home invasion role he was doing, that the checklists were about video games. Who would believe that? Investigators, of course, did not buy it, and on April 13th, Luke Collins was arrested and charged in connection with the murder of Marie and Wayne.
Devastating details are emerging tonight in a Perth double murder mystery with revelations a brother and sister were killed 24 hours apart. Police have arrested one man over the deaths as friends of victim Marie Collins remember her as someone always willing to forgive.
This is the face of 66-year-old Marie Collins, killed at her Victoria Park apartment, along with her brother in a double murder tragedy.
During the trial, the jury heard that on April 11th in the afternoon, Luke went to Marie's apartment with a hidden motive. Marie let him in thinking that he was a friend, but when he was inside, he tased her and viciously attacked her with a knife. He then made himself at home in her apartment, drinking beer and smoothies while she was lying dead on the floor. He also tried to access her bank account numerous times and sent some flirty messages to a woman, bragging about his new penthouse apartment. Woman: "Tell me about this new place. When did you buy it?" Luke: "A few weeks ago." "What would you like to know about it, gorgeous?" Woman: "Such an exciting time. Whereabouts is it? How did you know it was the one?" Luke: "I think you'll know it's the one when you see it. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Later, when he was at the hospital, he sent the same woman a picture of himself, along with the message reading, "Sexiest patient ever." He had told the hospital staff that he hurt himself falling down the stairs, when really, it was Wayne who inflicted the injuries while fighting for his life. The prosecutor said it was not known why Luke killed Marie. It might have been part of a fantasy to make her disappear, access her bank accounts, and take over her beautifully renovated apartment, which had city views and was twice the size of his. Wayne was killed because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time after he went to check on his sister. Despite all the evidence against him, Luke maintained that he was not responsible for Marie's death, claiming that an intruder had done it. When Wayne came in and found his sister dead, he started attacking Luke, who then killed him in self-defense. The jury did not believe his story and found him guilty of murder of both Marie and Wayne. He was sentenced to a minimum of 34 years in prison. Later, after the sentencing, Helen read a statement on behalf of her family, saying that justice has been served, though it won't bring back her siblings.
The empty seats at our table will always be a constant reminder of the absence at our family gatherings.
What do you think was Luke's motive for doing what he did? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.